Finding time to write or making time to write is very crucial in being a writer. But how do you do it? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm Kelly Blanchard, the author of the Chronicles of Loic series. So you want to write, and to do so, you have to make time to write. But how can you do that when you have such a busy schedule, such a busy life? All right, so there are some things to consider. First of all, some people write every single day. Other people write every other day or whenever they can, and other people write only whenever inspiration strikes them. And you have to determine which one of those people are you. Now, the more prolific kind of writers do write every day. Now, that might not be you, and that's okay. You can work up to that eventually. So what you have to do is work on figuring out what kind of writer are you and what is your goal. Do you want to have it where you have a certain word count, a certain page count, or you were like, okay, I can write for 10 minutes at this time, and you just focus on time. So those are different ways to consider when you're trying to figure out where to find writing. All right, so as you go through life, you might be in school, in work, or you might be a parent. All of those external demands really just take your attention and your energy, and it can be really, really hard to write. So how do you find the time there to write? So let's focus on the school aspect. If you're students, it doesn't matter if you're middle school, junior high, high school, college, it doesn't matter. It's difficult because you have classes to attend, you have a social life, and then you come home or go to your dorm or wherever you are, and you have to study. And if you're a college student, you might also have work. So what do you do? I have spoken with a lot of other people about finding time to write, and their tips were this. As a younger person, a lot of people would try to write when they get home from school. And yeah, you have homework, and it's really hard because sometimes especially if you're in public school, you're at 3 o'clock, you get home, and then you have maybe dinner at 6, and you just want to relax, but you have to do homework, and homework can take those 3 hours. So an idea to think about is when you want to write, just like, okay, either have a word count, like I want to write 100 words. That's okay, just 100 words, that could be a paragraph right there. Or you could be like, I want to write for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So sneak away, find some place and set a timer and just have it where you can write. It could be on a computer, on a piece of paper, whichever way. I would recommend, especially when you're a younger person, setting it time, how long you want to write. That way you can go on to finish your homework and so forth. And your parents will be okay with you writing because you are completing your chores and your homework. So, but that's hard. Sometimes, like I said, school life, and you have all these extracurricular activities you have to do, and it's hard to find that time. So if you find a moment where you might want to be on social media, you can probably take that moment to get it on your phone and you can write. And there are apps out there for writing, but you can also just email yourself, and that way you have it on your computer as well when you finally get home. So that's a suggestion for younger people with writing, especially when you're in school. Now, if you're working, that can be difficult, but you can wake up. I don't know what your schedule is. Everyone's schedule is different. But what I used to do when I was working outside the house, I would wake up an extra hour earlier. I'll get ready to go, but then I would spend time writing. And then I would go to work, and I'll purposely arrive early, but I would stay in my car, and I would write some more. And then I would go to work, and I would have a 30-minute lunch. So for that 30-minute lunch, I would spend 10, 15 minutes eating. And of course, I'm a fast eater. Not everybody is. But and then the last 15 minutes I would spend writing. And then I would come home and do what I have to do. And if I can write some more, I would do that. But it's not always very easy because you get home, you're exhausted. So that's an idea of something you can do. A lot of times we find moments where we want to be on our phones and on social media, and to be honest, that's okay, but you can spend the time on your phone to write. Like I said, you can use your phone to write. I've written full novels on my phone because that's what I had accessible. So if you're tempted to get on social media, maybe try writing something first and then get on social media as a reward for doing your writing. So that's a suggestion. Now, for parents, I am not a parent, so I have no write to tell you what to do. So what I did was I asked all my writer friends, my groups and page, I said, people who are writers and parents, tell me what you do, because I have no idea. So a lot of people gave me the feedback, and from what I can understand, it's really hard to be a parent and write. So if you are doing that, I really just applaud you for that, because it looks hard. So reading through everything, I kind of get a general gist of what everyone's saying, which is find time when you can, just those little tiny moments. And that's not very easy. So what they said for younger kids was, when a kid goes down for a nap or something, you may have to sacrifice washing dishes to write. And it's hard to do, because especially if your spouse isn't supportive of you writing, but if your spouse is supportive, then it's easier to do. But so sometimes there's little moments when your child is quiet for a second, like watching something or sleeping, then try to write. Or when the kid gets older, and if the kid's at school, it's easier for you to write. But then they said that summertime is really hard because the kids are home all day. And an interesting thing I observed was homeschoolers have it easier in that regard, because the parent is used to the kid being home all the time. So they already have this routine. So that's interesting. But as the kid gets older, because some people would say they wait till the kid goes to bed at night and then they write. But as the kid gets older, the kid stays up later, so it's harder to do that. So what they tend to do is give the kids something to do, like watch TV, and then the parent would write. So, and then of course as the kid gets older, they get their own life and so forth, and they become a little bit more self-sufficient, and it becomes easier to find time to write. A lot of times, the parents said that some people have set schedules, and the kid totally understands it and gets it. Other people have to just, when the kid's probably on activity, and instead of, watching them every single moment, they might be on the phone writing. So it's that one stealing something away. It's like, okay, so you need to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom and write something real quick. Any moment you can, you get away to write is what, you can do. So either way works. So you have to figure out what works best for you. I'm not a parent, so I can't tell you what to do. And I'm not going to pretend to understand, because I have babysat my nieces and nephews, and I don't know how you guys do it. And I know parenting is different from that. So I really applaud you all for writing and having kids. That's awesome. So those are my ideas and my suggestions. Like I said, some people have it where they have a set time that they want to write. This is for any age. A set time, like, okay, I want to sit down, I can do it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. And something to consider is, what is your end goal for the day? Like, how many words do you want to write in a day? For me, my average goal is 2,000 words a day. If I'm having a really good day, sometimes I'll write 4,000 to 6,000 words, and maybe even 10,000, depending on how things are going. So, but my normal average is 2,000 words. And if I'm doing really, really good, I could sit down and write 2,000 words in one sitting. But sometimes my day is a little bit busy, so I break it up to 2 sessions of 1,000 words. So I sit down, write 1,000 words, and then later that day, I write another 1,000 words. Or if my day is really busy, I have to break that into 4 parts of 500 words each. So I'll sit down, write 500 words, go ahead and write another 500 words, and so on and so forth until I reach 2,000. So that's something to consider when you're trying to do this. So that way you can feel like you accomplished something, you're working towards something, and every day that's what you're working on. Now, of course, you don't have to do that. Some people work it on page count. I've never done that before. I've always just done word count. So you can do either one, figure out what works best for you. And if you're the kind of person that just wants to write whenever you can, that's okay. But if you struggle with writing and you find that you're not writing, then try to figure out how much you can write in like 15 minutes. And then see if you can find 15 minutes a day or make 15 minutes a day. And then write that amount of words. For instance, it takes me about 15 minutes to write 500 words. So that means in 30 minutes I can write 1,000, and it takes me about an hour to do 2,000 words if I'm uninterrupted and if I know exactly what I'm doing. Because what a lot of problem people have is they sit down, they get, okay, this is my writing time. They sit down and then they're like, okay, what am I writing? What was going to happen, and so on and so forth. They get stuck in a brainstorming process, and that's okay. You have to do that, but then next thing you know, 10 minutes are up, 15 minutes are up, and you gotta get back to work. So what I recommend is before each writing part session, just if you have time, to think about it and really say, okay, this is what the next scene I'm working on right here. You get it, visualize it, and then when you sit down, all you just have to do is let your words fly. It's not that easy sometimes, because sometimes you do get stuck. You might hit writer's block, and you might fall in and struggle with it. Or sometimes you need to step back and go, you know what, I need to brainstorm with somebody about this because it's not working. So these are just ideas to think about when you're trying to make time to write, find time to write in a day. It's not easy, but you can do it. So if you're a writer and you have tips about finding time to write, make it time to write, especially if you're a parent and you have tips, feel free to comment what your tips are. Because like I said, I'm not a parent. I don't have the right to say what you guys should do or not do as a parent. But you guys can help each other. So please feel free to comment it in the comments. And if you are a writer, you're struggling with writing, finding time to write, just think about what I said and just try like 10 minutes or 15 minutes a day if you can. If you can find more than that, fine, that's great. You can work with that. But like I said, a major part of drains our attention is social media, being on social media all the time. So if you want to be on social media, watch TV or play a video game, and that's fun, think about writing something first and then using that, whatever it is you want to do, as a reward for your writing. So that might be motivation for you to write. So just a thought to think about. Anyway, I hope this helped you, and so get back to writing. You can do it. I believe in you.